Hi there, and welcome to the On Fire podcast with Dylan and James. I'm James, of course,
and I'm Dylan.
And welcome to episode 2, episode 1, and the pilot, which we'll call 0, will probably never be heard of, ever. But we're going to talk about sports and not sports. So, Dylan, what sports or not sports thing are you excited about?
I am very excited about the Seattle Mariners right now. It is August 10th, and they are on their own in playoff position, squarely in that second wild card spot.
What's their record right now?
59-56. It's very solid. Very solid, yeah.
Jeez, I can honestly say that's all the time I want to spend talking about baseball right now.
And that's all the time we'll spend talking about baseball. Here we go.
That's it. So,
anything you're excited about? Sorry, I was running there.
In baseball, no. There's that. I mean, it's cool the Mariners. If they could make the playoffs, that would be absolutely awesome. You will see me at Safeco for the first time in a long time. Too
Ever,
long?
Maybe.
I mean, maybe. You can't prove that I haven't been. Yeah, this pod we're going to go ahead and talk about some Game of Thrones, as usual, as we tend to do. And we're going to kick it off with some football and fantasy football, which we will touch on in a little bit. So, last time we did a little superlative game, if you will, with some Game of Thrones characters. And we're just going to dive right back into that same exact thing. So, Dylan, I'll start with you. What's your question for moi?
All right. I'm not terribly proud of my superlatives today. But maybe they'll go better than I think they're going to go. The first one I have is, which Game of Thrones character do you think would have the best response to Trump's little handshake do-jiggity that he does?
Oh, that's a good one. You should be proud of that one.
Oh, thank you.
Because there's so many different people who would handle that differently. I'm going to go with...
I can get us started a little bit and say who I think would handle it best. With the obvious answer, in my opinion, Jaime Lannister. He'd just not have a hand to shake him with, and I don't know that Trump would know how to handle that. It would totally throw him off, and I just think that's maybe best case scenario.
Clutches the golden hand and just rips it towards him.
That's a strong possibility.
That's his move. That's literally his move. I'm going to go with the one I would like to see the most, and that would be the Hound. I feel like he's just not going to take that kind of shit at all.
No, he might just rip Donald Trump's actual hand up. Yeah.
Very possible.
All right.
Mine is a little less sinister. Who, in the Game of Thrones world, is most likely to wear white to a wedding and genuinely not know what they did wrong?
Oh, I like this. Okay.
It's a weird one.
It is a weird one. But I think we have to look at characters that didn't grow up in refined society, obviously. So I think the obvious place to turn to might be the wildlings. But I'm going to go with, and I'm a real piece of shit for not knowing her name, but Sam's wife.
That's exactly who I put for my Gilly.
Yes. Gilly, yes.
Gilly.
Okay. I think Gilly would do that, and she'd be super well-intentioned, and it would be pretty cringy. I'd like to see that very much.
Yes. Good for you. That's the first time we probably matched on one.
That's probably true.
All right, your move.
All right. Number 2. Who do you think would be the most intimidating MLB pitcher?
The Mountain.
The Mountain.
I don't even want to. Oh, my God.
Okay. Maybe too easy. Yeah. I was thinking more like you had Randy Johnson, tall, skinny. He'd kind of squint like he couldn't see you, and then he'd throw 100 down the pipe.
I'll give you a different answer then.
Okay.
Since the Mountain seems a little too obvious.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Tyrion. How intimidating would it be to have a midget? And if you're in the majors, you're obviously...
Dwarf,
sorry. Gosh, stupid. But if you're in the majors, you're there for a reason. So picture a dwarf up on the mound throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. And that's coming from an angle no one's used to or practices for. So there's a whole lot of reasons that would be intimidating on different fronts.
Think about the run on the ball that's coming from 4 feet off the ground. That's a good point.
A grounder's a line drive for him.
Oh, no. That went way bad. It's gonna be... All right, what's your second one here?
All right, mine is in the Game of Thrones. Which character is most likely to get catfished?
Ooh, I like it. You're bringing it today. Well, I guess Tyrion sort of did get catfished, right? I mean, I guess not really. It was a real person.
She wasn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's technically catfished.
Okay. I would go with wow, I'm gonna forget the name again. This is awful. But Marjorie Tyrell's brother, who is gay.
Sir Loras.
Sir Loras, yes. Sir Loras. I think gets very caught up in his emotions and could be fairly easily manipulated, as he was in the show. Yeah.
All right, that's a good answer. I'm going to pretend you are HBO, and I'm going to pitch you the spin-off.
Oh, shit.
If anyone at HBO hears this, you're welcome.
And hire me.
Yeah. So this is called Qyburn the Musical.
Oh, no. Yes.
Just picture a scenario where after everything that's happening, Qyburn goes back to his room, sits on the ground, and has like a cell phone for some reason, and is just like looking at Tinder and having conversations with these women who just clearly aren't real. Just getting his hopes up and putting all of his eggs into that basket. Very funny to me.
That is pretty good. A man that weird and creepy has some serious emotional insecurity, and I think you're spot on in identifying that.
All right, your move.
All right, my last one here for Game of Thrones is: who would you be most comfortable house sitting your home?
Ugh. Probably Sam.
Good answer. Yeah.
I feel like he's really refined his cleaning skills in the last few weeks.
Yes, that's true.
We know he can cook. Well, we don't know that, but that's a fair assumption.
He can probably cook. He can eat, so he probably knows how to cook. Right?
But he's house sitting, so that doesn't really mean anything.
True. Yeah, I was ready to come along for that, Red.
Yeah. What about you?
I think Sam's a good answer. I think again, Sam's wife. Oh my. Gilly. Yeah. So I think Gilly would be good because they were kind of keeping house up north of the wall there. But yeah, the Night's Watch and. Or any of the Meisters, I think, would be good as well because they're kind of behind the scenes, which gets back to Sam again, I suppose.
Yeah. Gotcha.
All right.
I got one.
Oh, yes.
My final one.
Yes, sorry.
So this is a bit of a mouthful, so hear me out. I'm really into scenarios right now, these big, long ones.
Okay.
So, who is most likely to live out life after this whole war thing in the countryside, but later quickly realize, you know what? Maybe this whole country thing just isn't for me. Then they sell their home in the country, trying to go back to the city, and suffer a very random death, like tripped over a rock, got an infection, dead. Which character fits this bill?
What a broad scenario. I could see so many characters fitting into this scenario. I think the first one that came to mind for me was Bran, because that's kind of his shtick right now, right? He's fighting to get his castle that he can retire to with all his ladies, but I think it would be too boring for him. I think he'd return to the city, and after defying death in all these amazing ways for all these years, I think it would be very ironic and appropriate for the show's theme.
The irony route. I like it.
If he just got taken down by, like a shit bin getting tossed out the window or something. Yeah.
That's funny. I went with Jorah.
Ah.
I picture him. I mean, he's already confessed his love for Dany. And
Pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Pretty creepy, yeah.
She turns him down. He's just like, all right, I'll go live by myself out in the country. Hangs out there reading books for like, I don't know, 2 weeks. Sells his home, ventures in, and then dies, and just no one knows or cares.
That would be a pretty sad story arc.
You're welcome, HBO, for that spin-off mini-series.
I see that getting greenlit for sure. Oh, man. All right. Charging ahead here with our Game of Thrones content. There were a few other talking points we wanted to touch on. A little less structured here. The first one is kind of discussion around Bran, his powers. What do you think he's capable of? What do you think he's going to do? And we have some conspiracy theories that we're both pretty excited about with Bran. So I'll let you jump us off here.
What is he capable of? Not much. I mean, let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah. I mean, well, sorry. Before you go on, I mean, yeah, he's not shown himself to be capable of a whole lot, but at the same time, he's also shown himself to be, capable of seeing the past and the future. It's unclear how much command he has over that power, but...
I mean, I think at this point in the story, he's the single most important character.
Seems to be, yeah.
I think everything kind of hinges on him, and that's what they're setting it up to be.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer your question with a question. Do you think he should tell Jon right now about his family lineage, or is that better kept a secret for now?
That's a great question. And I don't know if I have a good answer, excuse me. But I think if he does, it depends on if Daenerys knows as well. And it also depends on if either of them believe Bran, right? But I think it would be beneficial if he could do it in a way that would get Dany to buy in, because then they could either marry together to join the kingdom together without having to, come up with some other solution to this impasse around bending the knee. But I can also see it just kind of scrambling the kind of status quo.
Yeah, it's a tall order and basically impossible to get her to buy in, I feel like.
Yeah.
I do have another what if that kind of fits right in here. I love these, if you can't tell. So we know Dany's not going to believe Bran, right? We would assume that.
Yeah.
But if she was dead, who would he have to convince? The people who at this point probably already believe him, because he's considered a little lord.
If Dany's dead?
Yes. And would have been a pretty opportune moment last episode during the fight for her to die.
Yeah.
Could you, I mean, obviously no one wants her to die, but I was thinking to myself, if she would have died, that would have been like one of the biggest TV moments of all time.
Absolutely.
Missed opportunity there, kind of, to an extent.
Totally. I think the narrative may have had difficulty charging forward without her.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll say, if Dany dies, her kind of coalition of forces, I think, is going to break apart into their own self-interest, because she really is the glue there. And I think most importantly there, the Dothraki would just start raping and pillaging Westeros without any rhyme, reason, or, clear leadership.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty obvious. But there might be an underlying assumption here that Jon can ride the dragons, control them. So that would be something to consider too.
True.
Because he'd be, Dany's nephew?
Nephew, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they either A, respect him because he can control the dragons and no one else can, or B, they flee. Maybe he provides a means of transportation to get back west.
I think that's an excellent counterpoint to my whole spiel there, because if anyone can prove to these peoples that they have the qualities that united them, as Dany did, it's Jon, right?
Yeah.
Especially if he can control those dragons, as we are presuming from his Targaryen heritage.
It's no secret that I like chaos, but
yes.
Can we agree that HBO missed out on an opportunity to kill someone off last episode?
Yes, absolutely.
And on that note, HBO gets our John Schuster Missed Opportunity of the Night Award. A very heralded award over here at this podcast.
They Schustered the shit out of that.
Yes,
they
did.
We're going to have to talk about the Winter Olympics pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. And you better believe we have so many useful opinions and thoughts about the Winter Olympics that people care about and want to hear.
Big, lifelong, die-hard U.S. curling fans right here. All right. Getting back to Game of Thrones here. Before we move on to some Jaime prediction and conversations, I at least very briefly want to touch on the theories we have around Bran.
Oh, yeah.
Brand, wow. Theories around Bran, specifically the possibility of him having less than pure intentions for kind of the results of what his powers reap.
Yeah, I mean, he just looks like he's on drugs. I don't know.
Good drugs, too.
If that gives off the look that he's, I don't know, evil. It certainly doesn't look that way to the eye that he has negative intentions until you hear our theories, and then it helps you buy into it and root for it, even though there's literally zero chance any of it happens.
Zero chance or evidence to suggest.
So I was talking to Dylan, and I was like, hey, so what if Bran becomes evil and goes, or maybe not necessarily evil, but if his goal this entire time is to win the Game of Thrones, to sit on the Iron Throne. So Dylan devised 3 potential scenarios where that could be justified and scenarios that we would root for. And what are they?
All right. First, perhaps the most well-intentioned option here is that he, in some kind of pseudo-fascistic maneuver, kind of centralizes the power of all of the kingdoms in his own hands to fend off the White Walkers and do it, presumably for the good of the people. The second option is a little more nefarious, pretty similar, except he just does it to consolidate power for himself. Whether or not he fights off the White Walkers or not is less important. It's about Bran taking power. The third option, maybe my favorite option, is that since being touched by the Night King in that dream or vision or whatever it was, he is now an agent of the Night King, kind of infiltrating the Southerners. I mean, I say Southerners, I mean all of the humans.
Poor little old me.
So he's infiltrating them and he's going to stab them in the back at an opportune moment. I like all 3 theories. What do you think?
I think option 1 happens, the well-intentioned one, if somehow Dany and Jon die. Maybe they're riding dragons, somehow they die. That would be a good setup for that.
Yeah.
Option 2, which is probably my favorite one, where he's like truly evil to his core, like just, by his own choosing.
Just totally self-interested. Yeah.
Like, how great would it be if he was the one responsible for the deaths of like Jon and other important people? And people, I mean, you might be thinking, okay, well, how's a cripple in a wheelchair? People could take care of him.
Yeah.
But if they're scared of his mind, if he's going around one by one to each person saying, I know what you did on this day, this day, this day, and can like get everything to a T, like that's scary.
That is scary, yeah. I mean, and especially that he showed to some degree he can affect the past, right? When he was back at the scene of Jon's conception and he yelled at Ned Stark and he heard something. He couldn't see him, but he could hear something. So there's some level of influence possible. And if he could wield that power effectively and became exclusively self-interested.
Imagine if he was like going around, obviously showing that he has powers. Like people would believe him. They fear for him. And then he says, okay, well, I know how the future is going to go. I can tell you what's going to happen in 5 minutes, whatever, predicts that. And says, I know what's going to happen 5 years from now. If I don't take charge or whatever, you guys are all going to die. Ooh. If you don't do this, butterfly effect leads to me dying, all of us dying, you dying, so on and so forth. Is that a risk people take? Because he's the first ever case, as far as they're aware of someone who can see the past, present, and future.
Yeah, ooh. There would be some serious crossroads there, because how do you know to trust him? what would it take for someone to buy your trust in that way? Like in our real world, if that happened,
$1,000.
Yeah, probably. I mean, 1,500 probably.
Money buys happiness. We all know that.
For me, at least.
Yep.
All right.
Jaime Lannister.
Jaime Lannister.
Best name in the game.
Okay, so seemingly the obvious result of the cliffhanger from last week is that he will survive in some way, right?
I think they showed that in the teaser. So if you like pause it at a certain point, I mean, it was obviously Bran who pushed him into the water.
Yeah.
Then when Dany in the teaser is talking to all of them up with their dragon from like that hump, it looks like Jaime and Bran are the ones in the front. Certainly looks like that. I could be completely wrong.
Okay. So, speaking under the presumption that Jaime becomes a prisoner of Dany, what do you think is next for him?
Ooh, that's a good question. There's a handful of things that could occur. He lives out his days and dies. He ends up believing in Dany, like seemingly everyone around her does. And then maybe he ends up killing Cersei as a result.
Yep.
There's a lot of ways that could go.
Yeah.
But I mean, the assumption is he's going to be taken away as a prisoner. I feel like that can't happen because it's just so random that he could possibly get out of yet another prison situation, you know?
Oh, so you're talking about the possibility of like another jailbreak? Yeah. They'd be asking a lot of the audience to just like, he broke out again. Yeah.
That rapscallion.
It's a crafty, one-handed man.
The handcuff is like golden hand and he just pops it off.
Fucking Houdini. Oh, that's good. One thing I will say that I think a lot of people are talking about and potentially looking forward to would be reuniting Jaime and Brienne of Tarth. I think a lot of his well-documented character development went through the vehicle of the conversations he had with Brienne. And I think
she's the one who humanizes him.
Yeah, exactly. Much more succinct way of saying what I said. But I think, again, to point towards the potential death of Cersei involving Jaime, Bran could be the catalyst for that. And as he said, he's shown himself to be a good man, or a man that believes in, capital G, good. So it's very possible he gets caught up in Dany's whole...
How does he get from point A to point B? A being Dany, B being Brienne?
Well, I'd say the North and Dany are going to unite at some point, right? Whether they're consolidating to fight against White Walkers or to fight against the Lannisters, at some point they have to say, we're going to put our forces together. And that's when I see them coming together.
So I can't see like Sansa and the girls, and Brienne's always going to be with Sansa.
Yeah.
But I can't see them traveling south to Dragonstone, and we don't even know how much longer they planned on being in Dragonstone, because I think they were going to go to Casterly Rock, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, so they would all have to go pretty north to Winterfell, drag Jaime along that hallway as a prisoner, and then reunite that way. Is that what your best guess would be?
Yeah. That's a good question to ask. How would they reunite?
But
he could be held, like shipped off and held prisoner at Winterfell potentially, but
I would bet large sums of money, copious amounts, some would say, that those two will reunite.
Yeah, that dynamic was too good. It gave us too much to...
Speaking of dynamics, it's like you're reading my mind. What about that Stark family dynamic?
Oh, yes. This was one of my favorite parts of the last episode, not including the awesome battle at the end, was Sansa becoming jealous of Arya and continuing to be creeped out by Bran. And then obviously Jon's kind of not present, but, his influence is certainly. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I liked her watching Arya fighting with Brienne, which was a pretty awesome scene in itself too.
Great scene. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But I also really liked, if we talk about Starks in general, Bran's interaction with Littlefinger.
Oh, yes.
That was pretty great.
Good. So good. That made me go back and watch the speech that Littlefinger gave to Varys, where he originally said chaos is the ladder.
Oh yeah, that's like his whole foundation is predicated on that one sentence, basically.
Yeah, and that speech was so good, and I think we've lost a lot of the kind of nefarious, kind of cutthroat vibe that Littlefinger had earlier in the seasons, where he had these long soliloquies about chaos and power and, you know, stepping on heads to get to the top, and now it's more about how can I sleep with Sansa Stark. And
what do you think was going through his mind? Do you believe that he knows, or at least heard rumblings, that Bran knew all, see all, could do all of that, and just didn't believe him until now? Or do you think none of that even crossed his mind, and now he's just like, what the hell? How did he know that?
I don't think he knew, because if I'm thinking about it, who does know about Bran, right? He's been pretty remote out north of the Wall. Or have any tales of him?
Did you not watch the last episode?
Uh-uh.
So when Arya came through the gate, there were a handful of scenes where you could see Bran just popping wheelies, just rolling through the...
Son of a bitch.
Got you so good.
I never watched the deleted scenes. Yeah, so I think that kind of fleshes out where the Starks are at a little bit.
Yeah.
Next, I'd like to talk about Tyrion moving forward. What's next for him?
Yeah, Tyrion, man. I don't know. I last time we talked said, okay, he's due. Yeah. Something big's going to happen, or he's going to get fired or laid off, however you want to put that. But, man, he just looks so, like, solemn and just down. And Dany's obviously kind of fed up and deferred to Jon in the one moment he was there without even really knowing him.
Yeah. So you don't mean specifically at the battle, but just in the last episode in general, like with council and things. Yeah. I think she had to tell him off to some degree, right? As she did. I'm surprised she didn't go further. But I think I'm excited about the possibility of more Tyrion and Jon, more Tyrion and Jaime, if Jaime's brought into custody, so to speak.
You're forgetting, though.
Yeah.
Bran and Tyrion, too.
Oh, my God. The three of them in a room would be amazing.
Well, Jaime's going to hate Tyrion regardless. He wants to kill him. Bran, I could see, honestly, just not caring at all.
So I thought Jaime knew that Tyrion killed Tywin before he helped him escape.
No, it was after, because he helped him escape, and then he ran up and killed Tywin on his way out. So Jaime said, if I see him again, I'm going to kill him.
Okay. I didn't remember that. Damn.
So, to kind of answer your question a little bit more, I think they're going to reduce his role as far as, like, how much impact he has on the events in the real world, and instead keep him down there and just give him some witty dialogue with those guys, which I'm all for at this point.
His dialogue continues to be at a high level, where some others have kind of come down a few steps, in my opinion.
Davos and Bronn, those are still two of my guys.
Oh yeah.
They're the best.
They are the best.
Question for you. Dany and Jon, do you want them to get married knowing that they're related? Yay or nay?
Well, it is the Targaryen tradition, so...
I don't care about tradition. What do you want in your heart of hearts?
I'm from a very rural county, so yes, I'm all about it.
Get her done.
Goddamn right, brother.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you agree that. Okay. What about any new predictions on the quote-unquote prince who's promised Azor Ahai, whatever his name is?
Azor Ahai.
Okay, there you go.
Nah, probably not how you pronounce it, but whatever. New? No. Probably hold my thoughts from last podcast still.
Yeah. Still no Hound in the last episode, right?
I know.
Yeah. I'm ready for a Hound-heavy episode.
We might be gearing up. I was happy to have some Brienne last episode.
True, yeah.
So I think we're due.
I mean, yeah, we could potentially see the Hound reuniting with any number of characters, which would be pretty fun.
Exactly, because the Hound and all them were traveling north, right?
I think so, yeah.
So here's my question, because they had horses, and we were able to see Jon travel all the way down south in one episode, which would assume to be a couple weeks. So wouldn't you also assume that if they were going to reunite it, like Winterfell, sorry, they would be there by now? The Hound, that is? Or do you think they just went like to the wall that way?
That's a great question. It's impossible to answer, but what is their destination? Yeah, I think that will kind of inform a lot of this discussion, but I would guess that they're going to go to Winterfell because it's pretty well known at this point, right, that Jon's the king in the north and he's kind of organizing whatever he's got going on at Winterfell.
Yeah.
So that'd be my guess. And I think you're right to point out we don't really think about the logistics of traveling very much, but it might be pretty accurate, so to speak, for them to get there this upcoming episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dragons.
Yes. What's up with this dragon with the arrow in its shoulder? Is it coming back? Did he poison the arrow? What do you think? How hurt is it?
My opinion's slightly influenced by the internet on the poison arrow part.
Okay.
Is I can't think of a scenario where they are poisoned where they didn't spend 10 minutes of Qyburn and Cersei dialogue describing that beforehand.
True.
Seems like a pretty big cop-out to be like, oh, by the way, 4 episodes, we poisoned the arrows.
Yeah, that's true.
And with the dragons, we saw this before, I think, with the injured dragon when it got punctured with arrows, where they took it down, fed it, guarded it for a long time, and then it got better. So I have no reason to believe they're not just going to hide away, rest this one until it gets better. Then her and Jon are going to ride over the horizon together on the other 2.
Oh, yeah.
Lovebirds.
Fucking lovebirds. All right. Another character group that was absent in the last episode. What's up with Euron Greyjoy and Yara Greyjoy?
I don't know about Yara. I think we'll probably see next episode. I'd be really surprised if we didn't. Because right now, my big question is all the Unsullied who are sitting there at Casterly Rock.
Yeah.
Is the Iron Fleet just kind of hanging out outside waiting?
Yeah.
And if they are, who cares? They already killed all the warriors there, so the Unsullied could leave because there's no more traveling army sitting out there because they got wiped out by dragons. And Euron's group isn't exactly going to start, chasing in a land battle against them.
There's no way they win that. Yeah.
So we'll see. I feel like we have to.
Yeah.
But I don't really know.
The kind of easy answer for what happens to Yara is slow, painful death at the hands of Cersei, right? But
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
He took her back with him.
So he left the King's Landing again to go to Casterly Rock?
Yes.
And she's with him.
Because it was 2 episodes ago, or whenever they took over Casterly Rock.
Yeah.
Right after they took it over, they said it was surprisingly easy, and then all the black ships started coming in.
Yeah. Okay. So what will happen? That's a good question.
I feel like they're not going to die. Euron's not, no matter what.
Not yet.
Because we know that Cersei deposited all that gold, so to speak, or paid it all off. So they have fresh money so they can make more gold off the Lannisters. And she wanted to reinvest some in their fleet. So I can't see that not happening to some degree.
Yeah. And that brings us kind of the last piece I wanted to talk about here about Game of Thrones. The Iron Bank.
Yes.
The Iron Banker.
Mycroft Holmes.
And bankers, of course, financing and profiting from war. Glad it's a realistic world they've created over there.
God. Pigs.
Fucking crooks. Lock them up.
Lock them up. But really, though, I mean, it's funny how they're just like, can you please hurry up and pay us back so we can give you more so we can start profiting off you right away again?
Yeah.
But she's just like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever.
Totally shameless. But, I mean, seemingly the Iron Banks has no, allegiances except to whoever they think is going to win, right? So what would it take for them to start supporting Dany, right?
I would say the final straw would probably be the Golden Company failing, if that happens.
I'm excited about the Golden Company coming back into play.
I feel like they're going to find some badass actor out of nowhere to be like a leader, general, commander, or something to that whole ordeal.
Was the Golden Company Danny's lover from Essos?
No, you're actually thinking of the Golden Compass, the movie. No, but it wasn't them. No,
No, it wasn't them. Okay.
Daddario, was that his name? Yeah. No, that wasn't them. Okay. But what the heck? They probably don't need them over at Slavers Bay anymore, or formerly Slavers Bay. Sorry, rest in peace, Slavers Bay. 2008. But they could come back over. They have plenty of skilled warriors too. I mean, they're a hell of a lot more skilled in battle than any of the, regular people that the Lannisters would have. Yeah. Golden Compass aside. Wow. Golden Company.
He tripped himself up, that son of a bitch.
Stupid. What was I thinking?
Oh, reap what you sow, motherfucker. All right. Charging ahead here. Do you have anything else for Game of Thrones you wanted to chip in here?
No. That's the most highly rated episode in a hot while. It was very good.
Yeah.
But I still would have liked to see one person die. I think Bran was pretty primed to die that episode.
Yeah.
And I could have gone on board with the chaos that would have been ensued if Jaime, our queen, died.
Our queen.
Rest in peace.
Even Tyrion dying that episode, I think, would have blown some minds.
It would have, but I don't know how you make him die unless their side loses.
Yeah, gets caught in the kind of panic.
Yeah.
I have a great Tyrion theory I'll save for next time because we've been talking about Game of Thrones for 40 minutes.
So stay tuned for Dylan's Tyrion that he's going to be doing next week.
Tyrion. It's our new segment. All right, next we're going to